welcome back to another uncensored video, which happens every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And I was feeling pretty tired, but I'm suddenly energized. So, I'm somewhere between tired and energized, to be honest. I always get frustrated when I feel tired before recording a video because I want to give you guys my all. I'm also gonna adjust the lighting here. It's a little bit better. Kind of. Okay. So, today I will preface this video with the fact that I'm going to be a little bit vague because what I'm talking about today has a lot, is kind of like personal and private, but there's elements of it that I want to share. So I'm going to be vague about the inspiration for this topic, but I won't be vague about the lessons that I've learned from what I'm going to share with you. I also realized while I was contemplating this video topic today that, and I've said this before, I have had this vision of having a special uncensored group for members. And hi Avocado and Soul, thanks for being here. So, I launched the platform Eco Vegan Pal, and it's still in its baby stages, its infancy stage. I haven't given it as much love and attention this past month because of a lot of different things that I've taken on. I'm realizing that I've taken on a lot of projects, and I don't really see signs of things slowing down probably until the end, till November, so which isn't that long. I don't know, that's a whole nother topic. I could go on about that, but yeah, Eco Vegan Pal, there's a lot to come with it, a lot that I want to put into that. And yeah, so I bring that up today because I know there's a lot of you that feel really connected to me through my videos and through my social media, and I love that. I cherish that so much. There's also a number of people who watch that I have no idea who they are. A lot of people don't comment, and sometimes I'm like, people I know watch these videos, and I'm like, really? It's just odd being a creator, and it kind of just goes with the territory. That's part of the inspiration for creating Eco Vegan Pal, is I wanted a direct connection to you guys. I don't want this to always feel one way. It's wonderful to do live videos, as I'm doing right now, and to read comments and get to know you guys that way, but I crave something deeper, and I know a lot of you do as well. So that was a big inspiration for creating this platform. But there's also another incentive for you guys to consider becoming members, and that is I really, really want to start sharing a lot more of private things of my life with you in a private setting like this membership community. So I decided today, half an hour ago, that I'm going to offer a temporary discount for Eco Vegan Pal just for you guys. So if you use the code UNCENSORED when you go to ecoveganpal.com, you can sign up and get 25% off the annual membership. Right now, there's just an annual membership to Eco Vegan Pal because I really want people that are dedicated to being members versus, I've been doing membership stuff for a while, and I find with people that are monthly members, they're just not as committed to it. So I'm just offering annual. If you use the code UNCENSORED, you'll get 25% off, which brings it to about $5 a month, and you'll have the membership for the whole year. And the reason is because I know a lot of you are interested in learning more about my life and getting to know me more on a deeper level, and I want to share that with you. It's just I'm not comfortable doing that publicly. I want to know who I'm talking to, and I could absolutely do this in some other forms, but my vision has been to have a section of Eco Vegan Pal be invite only for people that want to kind of be part of an inner circle, to feel like my virtual friends, to hear some things that I'm just not going to share anywhere else. Like today, for example, I would love to share with you guys all of the details of what I'm going to talk about today, but it doesn't feel comfortable for me because I don't know who many of the people are watching. So anyways, if you want to join, that code is Uncensored is going to be up until August 8th, which is next Tuesday. And you can use it right now. You go to ecoveganpal.com. I'll include the info in the description. and just type that code in there and you'll get that special discount. And also, I was offering a bonus, like when you sign up for Eco Vegan Pal, to get these custom care packages from me. I still have a few of those left, so you may get one of those as well as a bonus. It depends on how many of you guys take advantage of this code, but I encourage you to. There's a lot coming for Eco Vegan Pal, so you're getting in at the beginning stages, and you're going to see a lot developing. You get to help shape it, and you also get access to videos that I will not be sharing publicly. They're going to be pretty much exactly what I do here already, but a lot more in-depth and like very detailed about my life. It's another way to support my work too. You know, I take on a lot of projects because I'm so passionate, and also like I have to keep myself afloat. Being an entrepreneur and working for myself is just like I tend to like take on just so many different things to have like lots of streams of income going and all of that, and it's been a bit of a juggling act, to be honest. So now I'm trying to simplify things more and focus in a little bit more than I have been. But as I said, the next few months are feeling a little bit chaotic as a result of me taking on a lot. Anyways, on to today's topic, which is the truth about getting everything that you want. And as I said, I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is that I got recently, but I did get something that I really, really wanted. And it's a really odd feeling, to be honest. And it's also, I don't know for sure if I have it entirely yet. And I think that that's an interesting thing. So this has happened to me off and on. Hi, Nina, thanks for being here. This has been happening off and on throughout my life, and you guys probably have experienced this too, where you really want something, and then you get it, and it's just such an interesting experience of what it feels like to want something versus to have something. So like the first thing that came to mind was like my first car, and I really wanted a Beetle, Volkswagen Beetle, like when the new Beetles, I don't know if they still call them that because they've changed, but I think it came out in like 1997 or 8. I wanted that car so badly, and I just like, that's all I could think about, obsess, and I convinced my parents to get me one, and it was awesome. But then like once you have it, you're like, you get used to it, right? And it's not as exciting as it was in your mind, right? Because now you have it, and now you're on to wanting the next thing. I'm trying to think of another example. I've been really fortunate in my life. I got the mindset of if you want to, you will. And if you want something bad enough, you'll find a way to get it. Like that was embedded into my head from a young age. And so that mindset is a huge part of achieving things in life, is that if you believe in yourself enough, you can get pretty much everything that you want. I'm a big believer in manifestation and visualization, and I've seen that work in many, many ways in my life, in crazy ways. I mean, it's just so interesting. Now, the thing that I'm not going to get into specifics about today is something that I have really wanted for a long time. And what I've also noticed is that things that you want, it can seem like they're not happening and you're never going to get them, or you know that you're going to get them, but you have no idea when, and it just feels like this whole eternity. And sometimes they just happen one day. Like this has just happened to me so many times personally and professionally, where I think about something obsessively and I do everything I possibly can. Like I'm a very action-oriented person, so I'll work really hard. I'll do whatever it takes. I'm like, I'm gonna study, I'm gonna find out how to get it. Again, personally and professionally. Like personally, it's like all the self-development stuff, because there's a connection there. Like you gotta like work on yourself to make things happen in your personal life, and you have to ask for what you want. So like I'm always doing that stuff, as you guys probably know about me by now. I'm going to meditation and yoga and reading books and talking to friends and going to classes and events, workshops, all that stuff. And again, same thing with my professional life. It's like working and trying all these different things and researching and talking, all that. That's just my personality. And the great news is that if you do that stuff enough, and if you believe in yourself enough, and you want something badly enough, you'll probably get it eventually. It's just sometimes it takes a lot longer than you want it to. And also, sometimes it happens in a time that might not be fully convenient to your life. So part of the truth about getting what you want is like right now, I have to say my life feels a little chaotic. There's a lot happening at once. And this one thing that I got recently is great, but then I'm like, is this going to throw a lot of the other things off in my life? And so it's all about timing, right? Now, what's interesting is that the timing of this thing makes a lot of sense because there have been plenty of times. Hi, Flower Poweress. Thanks so much for being here. I've spent a lot of time wanting this specific thing, which if you're just joining, I'm not going to say what the thing is because it's a bit private, but or at least for now. Eventually, you guys will hear about it, seeing how things turn out. But it's interesting because it's something that I've wanted for a while. It's something that I've tried to get and almost received, and then you just wonder why it hasn't happened yet. And then it does happen, and you're like, oh, now it makes sense why it didn't happen earlier, right? Because if I had received this thing earlier, I wouldn't have been quite as prepared for it. So that is a good truth here, is that you got to trust in timing, and everything does. I don't know. I just have to pause. Like, there's a... In my last video, I was talking about cleaning my home, and, like, it's so distracting. I feel like I have to move my angle here, just like seeing the hose of the vacuum cleaner under my bed. This is like me throwing together all my stuff. Hi, Roxanne. Also, since I paused, I did see a long comment come in, and Nina says, what you want isn't always the way you imagined it would be either once you actually get it. Yes, I'm going to talk about that today too. So yeah, the timing. Timing, I think, is so important for us. And this is a big reminder for me too, is like to trust in timing. I can tend to be an impatient person, and I want everything to happen when I want it to happen, and want it to go a certain way, and yeah, on and on and on. And you often realize when you get something that you want that there's a reason that it's happening at a certain time, and it's important to be grateful for it. Sometimes the timing doesn't necessarily even feel right, and that can lead to that thing not working out, or sometimes you've got to just trust that the timing is right for whatever reason. Like, even when things don't work out, there's often a reason for it. So yeah, timing is really, really interesting. And then there's that, as Nina was saying, like the things that you want aren't always what they seem, or sometimes in a positive or a negative way. In this scenario, for me, it's very different than I imagined it would be. And it's brought up a lot of interesting things. So one of the big things that I want to talk about today is that, you can spend all this time fantasizing about the things that you want in your life, personal, professional, whatever they may be. And when you finally get them, sometimes they don't feel as great as you think you're going to. Sometimes you're not much happier. Like I was talking about it with a friend today, and it was kind of an abstract concept, is that we often think that we're going to be happier when certain things happen. And there's this kind of cliche advice, which is like not making our happiness dependent on our circumstances. That is a huge, huge lesson, right? Like, this thing that has happened in my life, something that I've wanted for a while, I don't know what shape it's going to take, but it's just, yeah, it's something big for me. And I don't necessarily feel happier as a result of it, which was a big surprise for me. It has brought me a lot of joy, and I am not sure if I'm not happier because of my emotions around it or not. So the big thing that I want to discuss, which I would love to hear if any of you guys can relate to this, but it has brought up a lot of challenging emotions for me. A lot of fear specifically. And things within me that other people have observed about me that I didn't necessarily know about myself until this happened. So I was talking about it with a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, who's seen me go through a number of things in my life. And she's like, oh yeah, you always do this. You always react like this. I'm like, really? Like, I guess I have, but I don't know. It's like sometimes you have to have certain things happen in your life in order to see yourself for who you are, notice your habits and your trends and all of that. And so this has been a phenomenal opportunity for me to pay a lot of attention to myself. So whereas some people would get something like what I received and what's happening in my life and be like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. I finally have it. Like, things are great. I'm so happy. You know, like, for me, I'm like, wow, this is good. But there's a lot of negative stuff coming up that's, like, making this actually really scary. So, number one is I have a fear of impermanence. I have a fear that when things are good, they're not going to last very long. How many of you guys can relate to that? I have a fear that things are too good to be true. So when something feels really good, I'm like, okay, what's wrong about it? Oh, and just even saying that out loud, I'm like, I can't even believe I'm doing this. Like, it's like I almost don't feel like myself right now. It's like realizing that what doesn't feel like myself actually is myself. It's like my shadow self. There's actually a book about this, I think Deepak Chopra, he wrote a book called The Shadow Effect, which I need to read, and I think this is all about this. Like, spirituality, personal development books talk a lot about the shadow self, like the sides of us that we push away, we put into closets and corners, and we hide under the bed, like my vacuum cleaner back there. And you know, they poke out every once in a while, like my vacuum cleaner back there. And we see them, and it's like we can either keep shoving them away and ignoring them, or we can go, whoa, this doesn't feel like me, but this is me. Like, how much of ourselves are there that we're not even acknowledging, good and bad, right? And so for me, I feel different because, like, this has stirred up so much in me of excitement, happiness, but also fear and whatever else coming up. And instead of being like kind of like frustrated with it all, like, I'm actually seeing this as a great opportunity to look within, acknowledge this, work on this, heal some things, right? And that is a gift in itself too. A friend of mine also, who just came back from one of Tony Robbins' events for the first time, which I really feel like, mark my word right now, I know that I'm going to go to a Tony Robbins event. I'm very confident that I'm going to be invited by somebody else there and have, like, an incredible experience. I just know that. Like, that's, like, for whatever reason, just trust me, one of these days I'm going to make a video about a Tony Robbins experience. And so, like, hearing my friend talk about hers, I was like, yeah, I'm going to speaking of getting things, like, I'm going to get that. But anyway, she was on this kind of Tony Robbins mindset, and she was reminding me the importance of being present. So one of my favorite authors and spiritual guidance, that's not the word I'm looking for, spiritual experts or gurus, whatever term, is Eckhart Tolle, or Tolle, depending on how you want to pronounce his last name, who wrote The Power of Now and one of my favorite books, A New Earth. And I'll link to those below. Highly recommend it. He talks about our ego and the importance of being present. And that book was A New Earth, specifically. A Power of Now I want to reread. It's right over here. I might have to read it today. You know, is that specifically about the importance of being present and how tempting it is to always project into the future or reflect on the past. And we're often in the past or in the future and very rarely in the present. So the advantage of getting things that we want and going through exciting times is that we do feel more present than usual. But when some of these shadow emotions come up, I know for me, I get a little too focused on the future and the past. It's like, oh, this happened, so if that happened, that must mean that this is going to happen in the future. Or what if this is going to happen in the future, and what if blah, 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 it's like all this stuff, future, future, future. And my friend was like, you need to really enjoy what's happening in your life right now and be very present about it. What's also interesting is that I've been attempting to be present, and this is a good training for me to be present, is that time goes by really fast when things are in motion and you're experiencing a lot of joy and you're getting something that you really want and everything's kind of coming together. Like, time just speeds up, right? So the past week that I've had this experience has gone by very, very fast, and it's almost like I'm trying to cling on to the moments so that it doesn't go by quite as fast, right? And so it's teaching me, like, how can I be present and really enjoy this? Because the truth is, we never know how long anything is going to last. Like, I do have this fear of things ending, but everything will end eventually. Our lives will end, our circumstances end, things change, they evolve. This has brought up a huge amount of emotions for me around that. Is fear that it's not going to be like this for very long. Fear that it'll end, fear that it'll change, fear that it will be less joyful, fear, like all of these things brought up major amounts of fear for me that I didn't even realize around this specific thing that's happening. And I didn't expect that. I really didn't, because I've thought so much about achieving this, receiving this, whatever you want to call it, that I kind of expected it to just feel good all the time, I guess. But because of me, because of some of these shadow emotions, I have been kind of battling my own internal demons. And they're all whispering like crazy things to me that are probably not true or ever going to happen. However, they could become true, and they could happen if I listen too much to them. And that can also happen as, I've often wondered about myself, and I would love to know if you guys can relate to this, is like, sometimes we self-sabotage, and I've been trying to observe myself to see if I do that. I don't really know yet. Is like, does the fear that I have about certain things manifest as a reality? And am I unconsciously doing that? Am I unconsciously thinking of something that I don't want to happen, but yet is there a certain part of me that does want it to happen because I don't believe in my own happiness, right? Before all of this stuff, well, kind of like in the beginning stages of what's been happening, I was talking to a friend about it, and she said, it sounds like you have some self-worth issues around this. And when she said it, I felt a little perplexed. I was like, really? I didn't realize that I had some worthiness issues around this. And I was like struggling. I could understand that she was saying, but I was struggling to really identify that about myself. I think that's why like therapy or just talking to friends is so helpful. It's like there are belief systems that we have that get in our way, and sometimes we just can't even identify them. I mean, I know that there are things that get in my way, and it's so frustrating to me because I'm like, I want to fix everything, resolve everything. I want to be the best person I can be. And so if I don't even know what's in my way or how I'm getting in my way, then, it's like, how can you fix something if you don't know how to identify it, right? So worthiness, fear, time, joy, like all of these things that come up. Another thing that my friend pointed out today, I had a great conversation with a friend I hadn't spoken to in a little while. She also said that perhaps part of my mixed emotions about this situation are based on expectations I have about it. And again, I was like, do I have expectations about this? But they must be, right? I mean, that's something that Eckhart Tolle talks about a lot, is that we're in the present, we're focused literally on the present moment, and we're not thinking about the past or the future. And expectations are genuinely about the future and shaped by the past. So we think about our past experiences and we think, well, Since we had that experience in the past, that's probably what's going to happen in the future. But if it's not happening in the present, then there's actually no reality to it, right? Present is the only reality. And so fear, I don't know if it was Eckhart that said this or not, but somebody that I've studied, maybe it was Marianne Williamson, but the fear only exists in the future. Fear is not something that we experience in the present, truly, if we really think about it. It's like, if we're okay, then everything is okay right now, and there's no concern about the future, right? So if, like right now, I'm in my home, I'm talking to you guys, you're watching this video, I'm happy, I maybe need a little bit of rest, but overall, like, my body's good, like, I'm safe, I have food, I have friends, I have, like, you know, circumstances that are great. Like, right now in this moment, everything's wonderful. So where is all this fear coming from, right? These fears are just false belief. What is it? Fear is false evidence appearing real, or something like that, right? So we're picking up like these old stories, these ideas, the things that other people have said, again, all this stuff from the past, and believing that that's what's going to happen in the future. So I guess the summary is, you know, we'll see where things go. I know you guys don't know the details, but if you do decide to become part of Eco Vegan Pal, I will fill you in on all of this stuff. So if you're just joining, I'm going to create a whole section of the Eco Vegan Pal membership community just for you guys on Uncensored, and you'll be invited into this like private section where I'll have videos talking about personal or private things, so both career and personal life. And this is one thing I'd love to be able to share with you guys. You know, it's not something I want to talk about publicly, but I would absolutely talk about it with a small group of people, knowing more about you guys and feeling like I was in a safe place, which was really designed for people to have an intimate connection with one another, with trust and all of that. So if you want to be part of that, there's a sale for Eco Vegan Pal happening for the next week. You can sign up for Eco Vegan Pal anytime, but if you sign up now, it's like the best deal I'll probably ever offer for it. So yeah, if you really want to know about more of this, I'd be more than happy to create a video for you guys in there as members. But if not, if you're okay with the unknown, it's something I might share in the future. You know, there's a lot of things that have happened in my life that I would have loved to have shared more details, and I probably will just never talk about because they don't matter to me as much anymore, right? And so speaking of the present, it would be really cool to share with you guys some of the things I'm going through as they're happening, and you can not only see the evolution, but I could tell you about things from the past that I haven't mentioned before, but they've lost their meaning, and there's, you know, the memory of it all like is hazy and all that. So there's no better time than the present to share. And you know, this specific journey that I'm on right now with this specific element in my life, there's so much unknown, and I guess it's like, maybe wouldn't matter as much to you guys what the specifics are, but hopefully inspiring you to examine the things that you want, examine the things that you have, and those times when you get things that you really wanted, and how that feels to you, what that brings up for you, like what emotions you're going through as a result of it, and can you learn things from it. I mean, life is really just one big lesson. So if we can break down, I find like it's incredibly comforting to notice myself when I'm uncomfortable and remind myself in those times that I'm probably not being very present, but also saying, I'm uncomfortable, what can I learn from it? That has been incredibly helpful for me through some of the most painful times in my life. I'll never, for whatever reason, last September, and this is a story I would share in the Eco Vegan Pal community too for you guys, because I have very vivid memories of some of the things I went through last year, which I probably would not talk about anywhere else because it was very painful for me. So it's not something I want to address publicly, but privately I will. When I was going through a really rough time last September, I remember feeling like such deep, what's the word I want to use? sadness, anguish, I guess. It was like I got very triggered by something that I didn't expect to trigger me. And the most helpful thing that I did was work on myself during that time. Because it was like nothing else was making me feel better. And just to get through the day, the best thing I did for myself was to read and to journal. And that's how I made it through it. I made it through it by looking for the lessons in the pain. That doesn't mean that the pain went away much faster. Maybe it did. It doesn't mean that I didn't experience pain. It's just that always looking for the lesson put some sunlight on the darkness. And what I'm recognizing is that's pretty much always the case in our lives, whether we're going through pain or joy. You know, it's like pain and joy are almost like so interconnected. And a lot of it's just a matter of perception too. Like I am experiencing pain right now in a very joyous time in my life. And the reason I'm experiencing the pain is because I have a lot to heal. In the past, I may not have recognized that, and that's why I felt so inspired to talk about this today. Is I think sometimes we sabotage unintentionally, or I guess sabotage is really the best word. We let go of great things because we're so afraid of them, and we haven't learned how to deal with that pain. We haven't learned how to address it. We haven't even learned how to identify it. And when we can just become present and say, I'm afraid right now. And then say, why am I afraid? I'm afraid because I'm projecting things into the future. I'm believing things. I have expectations. If you can just pause there and just like acknowledge it, breathe through it, and learn from it, you put yourself in a really strong position. And there's certain things that we just don't have control over. So this video will be very interesting to reflect back on, because things could go in so many different ways with this current situation. But the truth is, in the present time right now, I'm very grateful for it. I'm learning a lot about myself, and I can choose to focus on the joy and the happiness. And I think if I can do that, then this situation really becomes what it's meant to be. Versus sometimes we allow things to take a shape that's not fully doing them justice. So that's what I'll say today. Thank you guys for being part of the journey. Let me see if any other comments came in. Roxanne said that she could relate. Indeed and Truth said, yes, we are our own worst enemies sometimes, for sure. Green Dragon's here. Thank you so much. Watching this video, you will definitely find out more about how I'm doing. Avocado and Soul said, it might be part of your personality. For me, change and good change makes me go through all shades of emotions before I settle into it. You know, hi Yadi, thanks for being here. There's very little, Anika Lauren here, thanks for being here live. I am someone that's very determined to be my best self all the time, and I'm always evolving. So I don't generally feel like things are part of my personality, except for like, if you do like personality types. This is a great book, Creative You. It goes into the, what are they called? The letters that they use, like INFJ. There's a term for that. Myers-Briggs, I think, right? This makes some sense, like the personality types, right? And we have things like our signs from when we were born and zodiac and stuff like that. There are certain things that, yeah, I think that are part of our core, but I'm also a big believer in that many of us can shift who we are. And so I'm not somebody that likes to be like, oh, that's just part of my personality. Except for maybe positive things. But when it comes to like a challenging thing in my life, I don't want to use, I feel like that I tend to view that as like an excuse. It's like, well, when I'm in a state where, or if I notice habits, I think it's more about like habits, conditioning. It's like nature versus nurture, right? So there's certainly things about our nature that are just like in us, but the nurture side of it, we can shift so much of who we are through nurturing ourselves, through learning, through growing, through challenging ourselves, through studying ourselves, examining, and just seeing how we can grow. And I guess like that's part of this whole channel, you know, is sharing that journey of my own with you guys, and also seeing if that's something that you connect with too. So one last comment came from Nina, who said, have a good night and congrats on achieving the things that you wanted and for learning from the lessons that came along with it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys so much. I really would love to have you in Eco Vegan Pal, because Eco Vegan Pal is all about building friendships and deeper relationships with one another. And as I said, it'll be evolving a lot over time. And for me, one of my big joys is getting to know each and every one of you on a deeper level that isn't in the way that I would like it to be currently on social media and, you know, YouTube and all that. So Eco Vegan Pal is like an opportunity to really like get to know each other, and for me to share more of my life with you, and for you to share more of your life with me, and to meet other people in the process too. I mean, it's like really getting to know everybody. So yeah, if you want to check it out during this little special sale that I'm doing for you guys, again, if you go to ecoveganpal.com and use the code uncensored at checkout, you will get 25% off, which makes it about $5 a month, and you'll have an annual membership to it. So right now, I think it's like $8 or $9 a month, and you're paying annually. So eventually there will be a monthly option for it. I plan on that, but I don't know 100% for sure, because I like the annual. I want people there for the long haul that are dedicated to it and really committed. And a lot of my work is going in that direction of supporting, like focusing more on supporting individuals versus the masses and all that. I don't know. That might not be true, but while I can, well, my career is currently structured the way it is. Like I want an intimate relationship with you guys, meaning like the intimacy in getting to know one another. So yeah, I would love to have that with you through Eco Vegan Pal. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to the comments for those of you who are watching the recording. And if you want to be here live, I do these videos every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific. I also go live on the main Eco Vegan Gal channel every Friday at 5:15 Pacific, plus on Eco Vegan Gal Facebook page on Fridays at 5 p.m. And then also I do live videos on Instagram almost every week, plus the stories on Instagram, which is currently like my favorite way to connect with people. You can see so much of my life and then send me a private message, and it's just like so great. So if you want to, you know, just be more connected, of course you have Eco Vegan Pal as an option, and then all these other platforms. And I would love to have that connection with you. So you can reach out. Username is Eco Vegan Gal all over. I was doing You Now live videos for a little while. I'll get back to that eventually. And live video I'm like all about right now. So there's a lot of different ways for you guys to tune in and be part of that. All right, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment on the YouTube video, check the links in the description field. I'll link to the books that I mentioned, as well as Eco Vegan Pal with a discount code. And I'll remind you again next week before that code disappears if you want some time to think about it. But I encourage you to get it, because who wants to miss out on a good deal, right? Okay, I'm gonna go relax and then get some work done, and I'll see you guys at the very latest next week. Bye.